Flight rules exist for a reason. They are written in blood. Every regulation comes from someone who died because that rule did not exist yet. When Captain Derek Hayes violated multiple flight safety protocols during the Kabul evacuation, he was not just breaking rules, he was risking dozens of lives for one animal, his copilot. Lieutenant Marcus Chen saw everything. Chen had three choices: look away and become complicit, confront Hayes and risk the mission, or report him and destroy his career. What Chen chose tore their friendship apart and haunted both men for years. This is the story of a decision made at 30,000 feet that nobody walked away from unchanged. Subscribe right now, because this story will make you question everything about loyalty and duty. Comment what city and country you are watching from. Hit that like button, because this needs to be heard. This is the story of two pilots, one cat, and the choice that destroyed everything. Hamid Karzai International Airport, Kabul, Afghanistan. August 2021. The city was collapsing. The Taliban was advancing. American forces were evacuating everyone they could. Military personnel, embassy staff, Afghan allies, civilians who helped the war effort for 20 years. Anyone who would be killed when the Taliban took control. The airport was chaos. Thousands of people pressed against fences, climbing walls, running across tarmac, desperate, terrified. Knowing this was their last chance, Captain Derek Hayes had been flying Air Force transport missions for 11 years. He was 34 years old, from Denver, Colorado. He had flown in Iraq, Syria, all over Afghanistan. He was one of the best transport pilots in his squadron. Calm under pressure, made good decisions, never took unnecessary risks. He flew by the book, always. That was why people trusted him. That was why Lieutenant Marcus Chen requested to be his copilot 3 years earlier. Chen was 28, from San Francisco. Brilliant pilot, younger, less experienced, but incredibly skilled. He and Hayes had flown together for 3 years, over 100 missions. They knew each other's flying styles perfectly, knew how the other thought, knew how to communicate without words. In the cockpit, they functioned as one unit. Outside the cockpit, they were friends, close friends. Hayes was the best man at Chen's wedding. Chen was godfather to Hayes' daughter. That kind of friendship, that kind of trust. August 24th, their orders were simple. Fly into Kabul, land, load as many evacuees as possible. Fly out, repeat. They had done this mission 8 times already over 3 days, 8 flights. Over 400 people evacuated. Every flight was dangerous. The airport was under constant threat. Rocket attacks, suicide bombers, armed militants, trying to breach the perimeter. Every takeoff and landing could be the last. But they kept flying. Because people needed them. Because that was the job. Flight 9. They landed at 1400 hours. The loadmaster opened the cargo ramp. Evacuees rushed on. Families, children, old people, everyone carrying whatever they could. Hayes watched from the cockpit, counted heads. They could fit maybe 60 people, maybe 70 if they compressed. The loadmaster was organizing, trying to create order from chaos. Hayes ran through pre-flight checks. Chen monitored radio traffic. Everything was routine. Everything was fine. Then Hayes saw movement near the wheel well. A cat, small, gray and white, hiding behind the landing gear, terrified, pressed against the metal trying to disappear. Hayes stared. The cat was injured, limping, blood on one paw, probably got caught in the chaos, probably got trampled, probably had been living at the airport for days, starving, hurt, waiting to die. Hayes felt something twist in his chest. He said, "Chen, do you see that?" Chen looked, said, "See what?" Hayes pointed, said, "The cat, by the landing gear." Chen squinted, said, "Yeah, I see it." Hayes said, "We should bring it." Chen looked at him, said, "What?" Hayes said, "We should bring the cat. We cannot leave it here." Chen stared, said, "Captain, we are in the middle of an evacuation. We have 70 people about to board. We do not have time for a cat." Hayes said, "It will take 10 seconds. I will grab it." Chen said, "That is not the point. We have weight limits." Fuel calculations. We are already over capacity. Adding anything, even a cat, affects the flight profile. Hayes said, a cat weighs maybe 10 pounds. That is nothing. Chen said, it is not about the weight. It is about protocol. Animals are not allowed on military transport during combat operations. You know that. Hayes looked at the cat, looked at Chen, said, I am getting the cat. Chen said, Captain, I am advising against this. Hayes said, noted. He unbuckled, started to get up. Chen grabbed his arm, said, Derek, think about this. If something goes wrong, if we have any incident, they will investigate. They will find the cat. You will be court-martialed. Hayes pulled his arm away, said, then I will be court-martialed. He opened the cockpit door, climbed down, walked toward the landing gear. The cat saw him coming, tried to run, could not because of the injured paw. Hayes moved slowly, spoke softly, said, it is okay. I am not going to hurt you. He reached out. The cat hissed. Hayes kept talking, kept moving slowly, finally grabbed the cat, held it against his chest. The cat struggled, then went still, just trembled. Hayes climbed back into the cockpit. The cat was bleeding on his flight suit. Hayes did not care. He found an empty supply bag, put the cat inside, zipped it mostly closed, left gaps for air, placed the bag behind his seat, out of sight. Chen watched all of this, said nothing. His face was stone. Hayes said, do not look at me like that. Chen said, like what? Hayes said, like I just committed a crime. Chen said, you did. You violated flight safety regulations. You brought an unauthorized animal onto a military aircraft during combat operations. That is at minimum an Article 15. At worst, a court-martial. Hayes said, I know the regulations. Chen said, then why did you do it? Hayes said, because leaving that cat to die when I could save it is wrong. Chen said, and risking 70 human lives for an animal is right? Hayes said nothing, because he did not have an answer. The loadmaster radioed, said, we are loaded. 73 souls on board, ready for departure. Hayes started engines, ran final checks. Chen handled radio communication. They worked in silence. The silence felt wrong. 3 years of flying together. 3 years of easy communication. Now silence. Hayes taxied to the runway. The tower cleared them for takeoff. Hayes advanced throttles. The aircraft accelerated, lifted off, climbed, banking away from Kabul, away from the chaos. 73 people heading to safety, plus 1 cat. 30 minutes into the flight. Hayes checked the bag. The cat was still alive, still trembling, still bleeding. Hayes opened the bag slightly, gave the cat water from his bottle. The cat drank desperately. Hayes felt relief. The cat would make it. Chen saw all of this, said, What are you going to do when we land? Hayes said, I will figure it out. Chen said, you cannot just walk off the plane with a cat. There will be inspections, debriefs. The cat will be discovered. Hayes said, maybe, maybe not. Chen said, this is insane. You are throwing away your career for a cat. Hayes said, I made a choice. I am living with it. Chen said, we both have to live with it. Because if that cat causes any problem, any issue at all, I was in the cockpit. I knew. I am complicit. Hayes looked at Chen, really looked at him, saw the fear, saw the anger, said, I am sorry. I should have thought about that. Chen said, yeah, you should have, but you did not. You made a unilateral decision that affects both of us. That is not how this works. We are a crew. We make decisions together. Hayes said, you are right. I screwed up. Chen said, so what now? Hayes said, now we land. We get these people to safety. We deal with whatever comes after. Chen said, and if I get court-martialed because of your choice, Hayes said, I will take full responsibility. I will testify that I acted alone, that you objected. Chen said, that might not be enough. Hayes said, I know. I am sorry. They flew in silence for another hour. Hayes kept checking the cat. The cat seemed calmer, less terrified. Chen watched. Hayes checked the cat, watched his friend risk everything for an animal. Part of Chen understood. Part of Chen admired the compassion, but another part was angry. Angry that Hayes put them both at risk. angry that Hayes violated the trust that made them a good crew, angry that now Chen had to decide what to do about it. They landed at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The evacuees disembarked, grateful, crying, thanking the crew. Hayes and Chen processed through standard post-flight procedures. Nobody checked the cockpit thoroughly. Nobody found the cat. Hayes managed to slip the cat into his personal bag during the chaos, got the cat to his quarters, fed it, cleaned its wounds. The cat survived. The mission was complete. Hayes felt victorious, felt like he did something good in a place full of bad. Chen felt sick, felt like he was sitting on a bomb, felt like he had to make a choice that would define everything. That night, Chen could not sleep, lay in his bunk staring at the ceiling, thinking about regulations, thinking about friendship, thinking about what happens when those two things conflict. He could ignore it, pretend he never saw, but if something came out later, he would be guilty of cover-up. He could confront Hayes again, try to convince him to self-report, but Hayes would not do that. Hayes was committed. That left one option: report Hayes himself, turn in his best friend, his copilot, his daughter's godfather, destroy Hayes to protect himself and the integrity of the system. Chen lay there for hours. By dawn, he made his decision. It was the hardest decision of his life, but he made it, and nothing would ever be the same. Chen reported Hayes at 0800 the next morning, went directly to Major Sandra Ortiz, their squadron commander, said, "Ma'am, I need to report a flight safety violation from yesterday's mission." Ortiz looked up from her desk, said, "What kind of violation?" Chen took a breath, said, "Captain Hayes brought an unauthorized animal onto the aircraft during evacuation operations. A cat. He retrieved it from the flight line and transported it against regulations. I advised against it. He proceeded anyway." Ortiz stared at him, said, "You are reporting your own copilot." Chen said, "Yes, ma'am." Ortiz said, "Do you understand what this means?" Chen said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." Ortiz called Hayes in immediately. Hayes walked into the office, saw Chen standing there. His face changed. Betrayal, shock, hurt. All at once, Ortiz said, "Captain Hayes, Lieutenant Chen has made a serious allegation. Did you transport an unauthorized animal on yesterday's flight?" Hayes looked at Chen. Chen looked away. Hayes said, "Yes, ma'am, I did." Ortiz said, "Explain yourself." Hayes said, "There was an injured cat at the flight line. I made a decision to bring it aboard. I take full responsibility." Lieutenant Chen objected. "I overruled him. He is not at fault." Ortiz said, "You understand this is a severe violation. Multiple violations actually. Unauthorized cargo, potential safety hazard, violation of combat operations protocol." Hayes said, "Yes, ma'am, I understand." Ortiz said, "You are grounded pending investigation. Surrender your flight status immediately." Hayes said, "Yes, mum." He took off his wings, placed them on her desk. The gesture felt final, felt like watching something die. Ortiz dismissed them both. As they left, Hayes turned to Chen, said, "Why?" Chen said, "Because it was the right thing to do." Hayes said, "The right thing. We are friends." Chen said, "That is exactly why I had to report you. Because if I covered for you and it came out later, both our careers are done, at least this way. I protected the integrity of the system." Hayes stared, said, "You destroyed me to protect yourself." Chen said, "I destroyed you to protect everyone. Those regulations exist for a reason. You violated them. There are consequences." Hayes said, "So our friendship means nothing? 3 years of flying together means nothing?" Chen said, "It means everything. That is why this hurts. But friendship does not override duty. It does not override safety. You put 73 people at risk for a cat. What if something had gone wrong? What if the cat had gotten loose in flight? What if it interfered with controls? What if we crashed?" Hayes said, "None of that happened." Chen said, "But it could have. That is the point. You gambled with lives. I cannot be part of that." Hayes said, "You are a coward. You are hiding behind regulations because you are scared." Chen felt anger flare, said, "I am scared. I am scared of pilots who think compassion justifies recklessness. I am scared of people who value feeling good over doing good. You did not save that cat for the cat. You saved it to make yourself feel like a hero. And you are willing to destroy both our careers for that feeling." Hayes stepped closer, said, "You do not know what you are talking about." Chen said, "I know exactly what I am talking about. I have flown with you for 3 years. I have watched you make decisions. Good decisions. Smart decisions. But this was not smart. This was emotional. This was ego. And I will not go down with you because you could not control yourself." Hayes said, "Get out of my sight." Chen said, "Gladly." He walked away, did not look back. Hayes stood there alone, feeling the friendship disintegrate, feeling everything he built crumble. The investigation took 2 weeks. Hayes was interviewed multiple times. Chen was interviewed. The loadmaster was interviewed. The cat was examined. Veterinarian confirmed it was a local stray. Confirmed Hayes must have retrieved it during ground operations. The evidence was overwhelming. Hayes never denied it, never tried to minimize it, just accepted responsibility. The investigator asked, "Why did you do it, Captain?" Hayes said, "Because I could. Because that cat would have died. Because saving one life mattered." The investigator said, "Even at the cost of your career?" Hayes said, "Yes, even at that cost." The ruling came down. Hayes was charged with multiple violations. Article 92, dereliction of duty, violation of flight safety regulations, unauthorized transport of hazardous material. The charges were serious. Court-martial was possible, but his record was spotless. 11 years of exemplary service, no previous incidents. The board decided on non-judicial punishment. Article 15, reduction in rank from captain to first lieutenant, forfeiture of pay, letter of reprimand, permanent grounding. His flying career was over. He could stay in the Air Force, but he would never fly again, never command a crew, never sit in a cockpit. Everything he loved was gone. Chen was cleared of all wrongdoing. The investigation concluded he acted appropriately. He followed protocol. He reported a violation. He protected flight safety. He did everything right. His career was intact. He could continue flying, could advance, could have the future Hayes lost. But he did not feel victorious. He felt hollow, felt like he betrayed something fundamental. His squadron treated him differently after. Some respected him, said he did the hard right thing. Others avoided him, said he was a rat, said you do not turn on your crew. Chen felt isolated, felt like he lost more than Hayes did. Hayes took the cat home to Denver, named him Kabul. The cat was healthy now, thriving, living in Hayes's apartment. Hayes got a desk job at Peterson Space Force Base, logistics, paperwork, nothing that mattered. He showed up, did the work, went home, repeated. His wife said, "You are miserable." He said, "I am fine." She said, "You are not fine. You have not been fine since you got back." Hayes said, "I lost everything for that cat. My career, my friend, everything." She said, "Do you regret it?" Hayes thought about it, said, "No, I do not regret saving Kabul. But I regret how it happened. I regret putting Chen in that position. I regret not thinking it through." Chen continued flying, got promoted to captain 6 months later, got a new copilot, young, skilled, but it was not the same. He missed flying with Hayes, missed the easy communication, missed the friendship. His wife said, "You should call him." Chen said, "And say what?" "Sorry I destroyed your career," she said. "Say you miss him. Say you wish things were different." Chen said, "Things are not different. I made a choice. He made a choice. We both have to live with that." His wife said, "You are both miserable. Maybe that means something." Chen said, "It means we chose duty over friendship. That is what it means." 1 year later, Chen was flying a routine transport mission. Routine, standard, everything by the book. During approach, a bird strike hit the windscreen, cracked it. Emergency situation. Chen had to make rapid decisions. Land immediately at alternate field, risk further damage, or continue to destination and hope the windscreen held. He followed. Protocol, declared emergency. Diverted, landed safely, no injuries, no damage beyond the windscreen. Textbook emergency response. But that night, Chen could not sleep. Kept thinking about the decision. Kept thinking about protocol. Kept thinking about Hayes. Hayes made a decision based on heart. Chen made a decision based on rules. Both were right. Both were wrong. Chen realized something. There is no easy answer, no clear right or wrong. Just choices and consequences. And the weight you carry after. Chen called Hayes. First time in 14 months. Hayes answered. Said, Chen. Chen said, hey, long silence. Then Chen said, I heard about your grounding. I heard you are at Peterson now. Hayes said, yeah, desk, job, living the dream. Chen said, I am sorry. Hayes said, for what? For reporting me? Or for how it turned out? Chen said, both, neither. I do not know. Hayes said, why are you calling? Chen said, because I miss flying with you. Because I have been thinking about what happened. Because I do not know if I was right anymore. Hayes said, you were right. You followed regulations. You protected safety. That is what you were supposed to do. Chen said, then why does it feel like I lost something more important than being right? Hayes was quiet. Then he said, because you did. We both did. I lost my career. You lost our friendship. The question is whether those losses mean something. Whether they mattered. Chen said, did saving that cat matter? Hayes said, to Kabul, yes, to me. I do not know yet. Chen said, would you do it again? Hayes said, probably, even knowing the cost. Even knowing what I lost. I cannot watch something die when I can save it. That is just who I am. Chen said, and I cannot ignore violations when I see them. That is who I am. Hayes said, so we are incompatible? Chen said, maybe, or maybe we are. Both trying to do right in a system that does not always reward right. They talked for an hour. Did not fix anything. Did not resolve anything. But it helped. Helped both of them feel less alone. When they hung up, Hayes looked at Kabul. The cat was sleeping on the couch. Healthy, safe, alive. Hayes said, you better be worth it. You better be worth everything I gave up. Kabul purred. Had no idea. Had no concept of sacrifice. Just knew he was warm and fed and safe. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was the point. 2 years after the incident, Hayes was still at his desk job. Still grounded. Still bitter sometimes, but he had adapted, found meaning in other things. His daughter was 8 now. He coached her soccer team, spent time with his wife, took Kabul to visit schools, talked to kids about compassion and consequences, about making hard choices. The cat became something of a local celebrity. News outlets heard the story, wrote articles. Hayes became known as the pilot who gave up everything for a cat. Some people called him a hero. Others called him reckless. Hayes did not care about either label. He just lived his life. Chen was still flying, still advancing. But the weight never left. Every flight. He thought about Hayes. Every decision. He questioned himself. Was he too rigid to buy the book? Had he destroyed something valuable to preserve something meaningless? His new copilot was competent, professional, but there was no bond, no trust beyond the functional. Chen realized what he lost was not just Hayes, it was the belief that doing everything right would lead to the right outcome. Sometimes doing everything right still feels wrong. In June 2023, Chen was assigned to fly a humanitarian mission, earthquake relief in Turkey. His transport was loaded with medical supplies, food, water, essential aid. During loading, Chen saw a dog, injured, trapped under debris near the flight line. Local workers were trying to free it, failing. The dog was dying. Chen watched, thought about Hayes, thought about rules, thought about what matters. His copilot said, "Sir, we need to finish pre-flight." Chen said, "Hold on." He walked to the debris, helped the workers, freed the dog. The dog was badly hurt, needed immediate care, would die without help. Chen looked at his copilot, said, "Get a crate. We are bringing the dog." The copilot stared, said, "Sir, that is against regulations." Chen said, "I know. Get a crate anyway." They brought the dog, flew the mission, landed, got the dog to a veterinarian. The dog survived. Chen filed a full report immediately, did not hide it, did not wait to be discovered, just reported himself, explained the situation, explained his decision, accepted whatever consequences came. His commander called him and said, "Lieutenant Colonel Chen, you violated the same regulations. You reported Captain Hayes for violating 2 years ago." Chen said, "Yes, sir, I did." The commander said, "Explain the difference." Chen said, "There's no difference, sir. I was wrong before. Not wrong to report Hayes. He violated rules that exist, for good reasons. But wrong to think following rules is always more important than saving lives. I am not saying rules do not matter. I am saying sometimes compassion matters more, and I am willing to accept the consequences for believing that." The commander leaned back, said, "The difference is you reported yourself. Hayes did not. You showed integrity even in violation. That counts for something." Chen said, "Does it count enough to save my career?" The commander said, "That depends. Do you regret it?" Chen said, "No, sir. I would do it again." The commander said, "Then you learned something important. You learned that being a good officer is not just about following orders. It is about knowing when not to. I am issuing you a letter of reprimand. No reduction in rank, no grounding. But this stays in your record. You get 1. You do not get 2. Understood?" Chen said, "Yes, sir." "Thank you, sir." The commander said, "Do not thank me. Thank Captain Hayes. He taught you something I could not." Chen called Hayes that night, said, "I brought a dog home from Turkey." Hayes laughed, said, "You what?" Chen explained everything. Hayes said, "So you finally understand." Chen said, "I always understood. I just could not let myself act on it. But watching that dog die when I could save it, I could not do it. I thought about you, thought about Kabul, thought about what you said. Some things matter more than being right." Hayes said, "And what happened?" Chen said, "Letter of reprimand, no grounding. I still have my career." Hayes was quiet. Then he said, "Good. I am glad one of us does." Chen said, "I am sorry. Sorry I could not do this 2 years ago. Sorry I reported you when maybe I should have covered for you." Hayes said, "No, you were right to report me. I violated regulations during a combat evacuation. That was dangerous. That was wrong. You did the right thing." Chen said, "Then why does it still feel wrong?" Hayes said, "Because right and wrong are not always opposites. Sometimes they exist in the same choice. You did what you had to do. I did what I had to do. We both paid prices. That is just how it works." Chen said, "Do you hate me?" Hayes said, "I did. For a while. Felt betrayed. Felt abandoned. But I do not anymore. You were protecting something important. I was protecting something important. We just protected different things." Chen said, "Can we ever fly together again?" Hayes said, "I am permanently grounded. So no, we cannot." Chen said, "I am sorry." Hayes said, "Stop apologizing. You did not ground me. I grounded myself the moment I picked up that cat. I made a choice. I live with it. You made a choice. You live with it. That is all there is." They stayed in touch after that. Not like before, not the easy friendship, but something different. Something built on understanding instead of proximity. Hayes sent photos of Kabul. Chen sent photos of the dog he saved, named her Ankara. Both animals thriving. Both living because someone shows them over rules. Both reminders that sometimes the system is wrong. Sometimes compassion is more important than compliance. Sometimes you have to lose everything to figure out what actually matters. Hayes never flew again. His grounding was permanent. He retired from the Air Force in 2024. Got a job with a civilian logistics company. Normal work, normal life. Sometimes he missed flying, missed the feeling of controls in his hands, missed the view from 30,000 feet, but he did not regret his choice. Kabul was 6 years old now, healthy, happy, living proof that one moment of compassion could change everything. Hayes thought about Chen sometimes, thought about how one decision fractured their friendship, thought about whether it was worth it. He still did not have an answer. Chen made lieutenant colonel in 2025, still flying, still serving, still carrying the weight of the choice he made. His wife asked, "Do you regret reporting Hayes?" Chen said, "I regret how it ended. I regret losing the friendship, but I do not regret protecting flight safety. Both things are true. I did the right thing and I lost something important. That is just reality, his wife said. Would you do it again? Chen said, yes, and I would save the dog again too. Those choices do not cancel each other out. They just exist together. That is what being human is, holding contradictions. In 2026, Hayes and Chen saw each other again. Air Force reunion event. Both showed up, awkward at first. Then Hayes said, "You look good, Colonel." Chen said, "You look good too. Civilian life treating you well," Hayes said. "It has its moments." They talked, caught up, shared stories, laughed a little. Before they left, Chen said, "I never said this properly." "Thank you," Hayes said. "For what?" Chen said, "For teaching me that rules are not the same as right. For showing me that sometimes you have to choose between career and conscience. I needed to learn that." Hayes said, "And thank you for teaching me that consequences are real. That choices have costs. That compassion without wisdom is just recklessness. I needed to learn that too." They shook hands, not like before, not like brothers, but like two men who went through something hard and came out different. Hayes went home to Kabul. Chen went home to Ankara. Both men living with choices they could not undo. Both men changed by one moment on a flight line in Kabul. Both men still wondering if they were right. Still wondering if it mattered. Still wondering if saving one life was worth destroying everything else. The answer is complicated. Maybe that is the point. Maybe the best choices are the ones we never stop questioning. You tell me who was right. Hayes who chose compassion over rules, or Chen who chose rules over friendship. Maybe they both were. Maybe neither was. Maybe that is just life.